What's up, YouTube? Zero here, and today I have an absolutely amazing Umbreon and Leafeon combination in Pokemon TCG Pocket. In this video, I'll go over the deck build that you can see on the left-hand side of the screen. I'll talk about each of these cards individually, and I'll talk about why this evolution combination is extremely amazing and really fun, and you should be checking it out. Before I get into it, I do want to say if you do enjoy this video, definitely give it a thumbs up and hit that subscribe button, especially so you don't miss any unique or meta deck combination builds that I come out with. I come out with a bunch of different unique and also meta deck builds that you may not want to miss. So make sure you hit that subscribe button, and that thumbs up button really does help out me and my channel. Thank you so much in advance for doing so. Without further ado, it's time to talk about this deck. Let's talk about the Pokemon that makes this deck work, Leafeon EX. So Leafeon can combine in pretty much any deck because it generates its own energy. Leafeon EX has the ability Forest Breath. So once during your turn, if Leafeon is in the active spot, you may take a grass energy from your energy zone and attach it to one of your grass Pokemon. So in this deck, you can see a couple of different grass Pokemon. You have Leafeon EX, you have Shaman, there's Teal Mask Ogerpon, all of which will require Leafeon to generate energy for them. But really, we're focused on Leafeon because this deck is only running dark type energy. So Leafeon is going to be the grass energy generator. Now, Leafeon, for its attack, does only require one grass energy. So as soon as you equip that grass energy from the energy zone via Forest Breath, you don't need any more grass energy from the energy zone. So you can utilize the dark energy from the energy zone to allow Leafeon to attack with Solar Beam for 70. That's why Leafeon can combine so well with a lot of different evolutions, and has in the past. We've seen a Leafeon EX and a Flareon EX deck. We've seen Leafeon with other different evolutions, but this deck I'm utilizing Umbreon and Leafeon mainly because I love Umbreon and I wanted to try another deck with Umbreon, and this one really does work. Now let's talk about, since we've just talked about Leafeon, let's actually go over to Umbreon. And I have two different Umbreons in this deck build. There's Umbreon EX and there's non-EX Umbreon, the one with dark binding. I'll start with Umbreon EX. Umbreon EX is really going to be the closer of this deck. Umbreon EX also has an ability and also has a move, Darkness Fang. So Umbreon's ability, Dark Chase. It is a Cyrus in an ability form. So once during your turn, if this Pokemon is in the active spot, you may switch one of your opponent's bench Pokemon that has damage on it to the active spot. So Dark Chase with Umbreon in the active spot is a Cyrus. So it's really the closer of this deck. That's why I only have one in this deck. I want to get other Pokemon in the active spot, whether it's Leafeon, whether it's non-EX Umbreon, whether it's Teal Mask Ogerpon, dealing the damage. And then at the end of the match, when my opponent has retreated the Pokemon they don't want to lose, I put Umbreon EX into the active spot, pull that Pokemon into the active spot, and finish them off by winning the match. I've won a lot of matches without even attacking with Umbreon because I put Umbreon EX on the bench and my opponent knew it was game over. So I love Umbreon EX for that reason. Having the ability to Cyrus is always important. It can win you a lot of games having the ability to Cyrus, whether you're utilizing the Cyrus card itself or whether you're utilizing Umbreon EX. And of course, I don't have any Cyruses in this deck because I have Umbreon EX. Now let's talk about the combination of EVs in this deck, because you need the EVs to evolve into our evolutions. And then I'm going to go into the basic Umbreon. So the two EVs that I have that are non-EX EVs have the ability Boosted Evolution. I love this EV. It is phenomenal. So Boosted Evolution, as long as this Pokemon is in the active spot, it can evolve during your first turn or the turn you play it. So you can play this EV right away and evolve right away. So if you get the first turn and you have this EV in your hand and also Leafeon in your hand, you can evolve right away and start utilizing Leafeon's ability Forest Breath, which I absolutely love, so you can start the energy equip right away. You can also utilize Umbreon's ability if needed, or equip non-EX Umbreon to start dealing damage, even if you have the second turn. If you have the second turn, you can evolve right away and start hitting with non-EX Umbreon. So let's talk about this Umbreon real quick, because I brought it up a couple of times. So non-EX Umbreon has Dark Binding for 40 damage. If the defending Pokemon is a basic Pokemon, it can't attack during your opponent's next turn. So that's really nice. You can get the second turn, meaning you can equip the energy first. You have Eevee in the active spot with boosted evolution. You evolve into this Umbreon, you hit for 40 damage, and your opponent, as long as it doesn't evolve, can't attack on his or her next turn. So that's really cool. That's why I have this Umbreon in the deck. Next, the EVEXs that allow you to play multiple Leafeons or multiple Evolutions in this deck. EVEX has Vivivolve. This is an ability where this Pokemon can evolve into any Pokemon that evolves from Eevee if you play it from your hand onto this Pokemon. So this allows you to have the different Evolutions in the deck, which is really nice. It's a really great card for that if you want to make different Evolution decks. It also has Bite. For one colorless energy, deals 30 damage. The other Eevee that we were talking about has nothing to write home about. For one colorless energy, Stampede deals 10 damage. But those are the Eevees and the Evolutions that are in this deck. There are 2 Leafeons, 2 Eevees with boosted evolution, 2 EVEXs, then 1 Umbreon EX, and 1 non-EX Umbreon that has Dark Binding. It's really cool when you can evolve on your first turn, but the second turn of the match, hit with Dark Binding for 40, and your opponent can't attack because they're unable to evolve. Then, at the end of the game, you can bring in your Umbreon EX and Cyrus, the damaged Pokemon, from the bench into the active spot. Leafeon's going to be nice to start building up that grass energy, either on Leafeon or Teal Mask Ogerpon. Shaman is here in the deck to provide some healing support, but I want to talk about Teal Mask Ogerpon first. Really great card for this deck, not just this deck, but a lot of other decks, but this deck, it really works. So Teal Mask Ogerpon EX has an ability, Soothing Wind. Each of your Pokemon that has any energy attached recovers from all special conditions and can't be affected by any special conditions. So that means as soon as you equip energy onto any Pokemon, whether it's Leafeon, Umbreon EX, non-EX Umbreon, Eevee, etc., as soon as you equip energy, none of these Pokemon, as long as Teal Mask Ogerpon is on the field, can be affected by status conditions, meaning you're going to stonewall those Igglybuff Darkrai combinations or any other Pokemon that are trying to status condition you, which is really nice. On top of that, it has a move, Energized Leaves, for 60 damage, just 2 grass energy. However, if the amount of energy attached to both active Pokemon is 5 or more, this attack does 60 more damage, so 120. So you have the capability of dealing 120 damage with Teal Mask Ogerpon, as well as preventing status conditions. So it's a really great addition to this deck. Leafeon can generate the grass energy needed on Teal Mask Ogerpon, and then if you need the extra oomph in terms of damage, Teal Mask Ogerpon can come out and hit for 120 if the combination of energy between Teal Mask Ogerpon and your opponent's active Pokemon is 5 or more, which is really cool. Last but not least, the last Pokemon in this deck, Shaman, is really just here because of Fragrant Flower Garden. Once during your turn, you may heal 10 damage from each of your Pokemon, so you can heal up damage as the match is going on, which I do like in this deck. You're not only with Teal Mask Ogerpon preventing the status conditions, but Shaman is healing up your Pokemon. It can hit for damage if needed. It has Flop, 1 grass energy, 1 colorless for 30 damage. Next, let's talk about our Bounded Field. Bounded Field is really nice because it can add some oomph to this deck depending upon what opponent you're facing. So Bounded Field, when applying the opponent's active Pokemon's weakness to damage from attacks used by your Pokemon in play, this is both yours and your opponent's, that aren't Mega Evolution Pokemon EX, apply weakness as ×2. So you can really hit for a lot of damage. If you're hitting a Pokemon that's weak to Dark and you're utilizing Umbreon EX, you're not just hitting for 80, you're not hitting for 100, now you're hitting for 160. So you double the damage that you are dealing. So Leafeon, if you're hitting a weakness, now hits for 140 instead of 90, which is really cool. You can really deal a lot of damage to Pokemon who are weak to you. So Bounded Field's nice for an evolution combination because you can hit different decks really hard with it. Couple of basic cards in this deck: Pokeball, Professor's Research, and Copycat, all of which are pretty well known, but can really enhance the card draw from the deck. I do have one X speed because if I need to get one of the Umbreons out of the active spot, I can do that without wasting energy because they do have a high retreat cost. Both of the Umbreons have a 2 retreat cost. So instead of wasting energy by retreating them, I can utilize an X speed to get them out of the active spot, only equipping 1 energy instead of 2. So I like the X speed here. Of course, I need Rocky Helmet to generate a little bit more damage. Both Umbreon and Leafeon don't have a ton of damage, but they can work together depending upon how much damage you're dealing and how quickly you're dealing it. That's the point of this deck, dealing damage quickly and then finishing off opponents with weakened opponents with Umbreon. But Rocky Helm can help generate a little bit more damage, so I do have 2 in this deck. Last but not least, of course, Sabrina, really needed because Sabrina is absolutely awesome. Can mess up your opponent's strategy, can get to a Pokemon on the bench you want to attack. But Umbreon and Leafeon, this is the combination. I absolutely love this combination, especially because Umbreon is one of my favorite Pokemon. So I had to come up with another Umbreon deck. Believe it or not, this is my 5th Umbreon deck that I've come out with since Umbreon dropped in the game, which is absolutely crazy. Umbreon isn't very well used just because there are better options, and I completely understand that, but there are ways that you can make Umbreon work that really work out well. I'm actually facing a deck in which Solgaleo EX was combined with Vaporeon EX and Umbreon EX to provide the Cyrus and Sabrina combination while Solgaleo is attacking. So that's a pretty cool combination that my opponent came up with. I know that deck's been around for a little while now, but it's a pretty fun combination that utilizes Umbreon in a Cyrus type way instead of attacking. But Umbreon is absolutely valuable because of its Cyrus ability. And thanks to Leafeon's ability, in which it can generate its own grass energy, it can combine very well in a lot of different decks, as I mentioned earlier. But let me know in the comments section what you think of this deck combination. Do you like the idea of combining Umbreon with Leafeon, or are there better combinations of evolutions out there? Let me know in the comments section. If there's a card you'd put into this deck or take out that would make it even better, let me know as well. If there's a Pokemon you'd like to see a deck built around, let me know in the comments section and I will build a deck. I love unique deck types that work. I love coming out with new decks that other people may not be using, but really work in terms of the game, defeating meta decks and opponents just being caught off guard. So let me know in the comment section any Pokemon you'd like to see a deck built around. Thanks so much for sticking around. Definitely hit that thumbs up button and subscribe to the channel. I hope you have a great rest of your day. And until next time, peace.